I'm Dr. Barry, licensed psychologist, and here we talk about true crime and psychology. Thank you so much for joining. Let's hop right into today's topic. Let's go. Welcome. Thank you all so much for being here. Today, we are going to talk about the Netflix documentary, Maternal Instincts. And this is incredibly triggering content warning for just horrific manipulation, lies. I'm not going to go into the gory details of what happened in this case, and I'm not going to play any of the audio or any of the clips. There are other creators that have played portions, and if you want to do a deeper dive, please do that. I really want to focus on the mental health aspects of this case. Not only so, Taylor Parker was convicted of a horrific crime. And I was watching another creator talk about how it is rare for a stranger, or not even a stranger, even a friend, or for somebody that knows someone who's pregnant, for them to do what Taylor Parker did. And so often when things like this happen, we want to try to make sense of it. And Taylor did meet with multiple mental health experts, I think at least two or three, and they're mostly are personality disorder traits. And I want to talk about that because I think this goes beyond that to, once again, just somebody doing a very, very evil thing. And a lot of the questions that I received is, how could somebody do this to another person? And the sad part about this is I don't think Taylor really loved or cared about anyone. It seems like she put her needs, what she wanted, she put all of that first. And her desire for a child, I don't know that she really even wanted a third child. She wasn't raising her other two children. I think she was trying to kind of trap Wade. So Wade was a guy that she was dating at the time. His family, everybody says that she was way more into him than he was into her. And she had this desperate fear of him leaving, him not wanting her. And that love that she wanted, she didn't get it in healthy ways. So I think soon after she met Wade, she told him that she was in this horrible situation and needed a place to stay. And he let her come and live with him. Ooh, red flag. Right? Now, sometimes people can legit have situations, but there are all of these things that happen. And now all of looking back, we can be like, she's over here claiming to be the heiress to millions of dollars, and she can't get an apartment. She's not living on her own. She's not financially stable. And I have some thoughts about Taylor's mom and just some different thoughts about this case. I'm so glad that we are able to talk about this. I did watch the documentary, and while there are triggering aspects, I've definitely watched um, things that were, I don't know, maybe I don't know if my bar for what is worse. Like I don't know if that's went up some because um the unknown caller, that was a hard one. The should I marry uh redrummer, like that was a very difficult one. While the topic, so there are aspects of this that is definitely very emotional. The way that it's covered and the way that it's presented, it's telling a story, and I was able to get through it because I was worried. So I watched other people talk about it first because I was concerned. It's like I'm about to take a break from true crime. Like, I don't want this to be the last thing in my mind. And it wasn't as bad as I thought it could have been because the details of this are absolutely horrific. And so the Netflix docuseries opens with the 911 call that Taylor made. And it immediately starts out with lies because she claims and on the police body cam, she claims that she's just given birth, and, when the police gets there, she says that she's going to meet her husband. She was not married. She was single. And so, um, I think Netflix named it Maternal Instinct for because she didn't have any. Like, I think it was a play on words. So I don't think so it was something that was catchy. Um, would y'all do we wanna workshop any other names? 'Cause she doesn't have maternal instincts. She did a horrific crime that resulted in the death of someone that she claimed to be a friend. So, Reagan and also, Brylan. Her actions resulted in the deaths of 2 people, and that is absolutely horrific. I think it was kind of a catchy I think it's a because there is no maternal instinct, so I think it was like a I don't know, um, I don't know, things like that. Like, Lisa, I don't think that one would have got as many clicks and views. That's very accurate, like, that is exactly what happened, but I don't think any other way, like, how do you describe this? Because I don't think she has any maternal instinct, and I think everything she did was incredibly selfish, and we will talk about how somebody can lie like this, and there is a spectrum of, there are some people that are compulsive liars. So somebody that's a compulsive liar, they will lie to you about the color of their shirt, even though like you can see their shirt. It's just the lying and there's no benefit that they're trying to get out of it. They just lie about everything. There are pathological liars, and those are people that are lying to manipulate. They're lying to get something. And I think she had a combination of pathological lying and then I don't even know, like she just lied all the time. If there are times that the truth might have snuck out, but she lied a lot about everything. And she didn't even keep up with her lies. It's not good. All right. And one of the friends mentioned that there were different versions of Taylor. And they kind of said that Taylor had different personalities, but not in a dissociative identity way. It was more of a manipulative way. And the friend said that she loved attention. And she wanted to be the pretty girl that could catch the attention of a guy. And that's when the documentary introduces Wade. That's, a guy that she met at a rodeo. He thought she was cute, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, I'll get to know her." Um, Poor Wade. So I think Wade, because a lot of people question, how didn't Wade catch on sooner? And I've mentioned before that people that are scammed are more likely to be scammed again sometimes. Like if they don't realize, because sometimes people think I'm too smart to be scammed. So I don't want anybody to talk about like his intelligence or anything like that. Like honestly, I think he trusted her. He I think he wanted to respect her and everybody's telling him, "Dude, she's playing you." And I don't think he wanted to be played. I don't think he wanted to have a reality where she was capable of doing that to him. Because then it makes a person question everything. Like, how did I let this person be around my family? How did I, you know, be in a relationship with them for all this time? And I think it was like 10 months. Like I don't it was very, very fast moving. All right. How does someone like her differ from women who steal babies from a nursery, or are they similarly disturbed? So sometimes an individual that um, does what you mentioned that might be at risk of taking somebody else's child. Sometimes they truly are trying to raise that child. I don't know that her intentions were pure because I don't think she truly cared about other people. She has a cluster of personality traits that then if you add on a lack of remorse and a lack of empathy, you add antisocial, you add all those traits in, you can get a very dangerous combination. But you wouldn't know it until things got to this point. And there were other friends in her life that noticed, oh, when I said I had a problem, she all of a sudden had the same problem, that she always had to be the center of attention. I think it was in high school that she was catfishing people, and I am strongly against, catfishing. So, because she didn't feel confident in herself, and she very much, I think, wanted attention from other people, she would ask like she would ask other girls for pictures of their body so that she could like catfish people online, and that is very problematic. We don't learn a lot about her childhood because the things that her mother has talked about, I just personally wonder if there's something more. Not that anything would ever excuse what she did, but it's like, how did we get to this point? It's my understanding, I don't know if her mother will continue to support her after some of, like, the phone calls have come to light and some and all of, I think some of the letters have been released. I haven't personally read any of those things, but there were times where it seemed like her mother was enabling her and not setting limits and boundaries. I think at one point her mother did call her out and be like, you shouldn't have done this." Um, Annie Elise from Seriously, she released like a 2-hour podcast where she did a deep dive into a bunch of different things with this case. And I think Wade was just I think he was living his life. She said she was pregnant with his child. I think his family was like he really didn't even seem that excited about having a kid or anything. Like I think he just and I don't know if the money, 'cause remember she was still lying about being an heir to all this money because he did, like, get loans to purchase, his new truck and the side by side, some type of farm equipment, and they were supposed to buy that farm. Like, there were all of these things that they were supposed to do, and so I don't know if that could have been a part of it. I'm just being honest about that. That could have been, a part of it. All right. Normally, people that have money normally don't talk about it. So normally people, like if you come from a long line of people that own oil and so normally people that have money, they don't brag about it, they don't talk about it. You wouldn't really know. And so that would have been a red flag for me personally. Not that I would have called anybody out on anything, but I just would have made note like, I guess that's strange. That's very strange. And there are a ton of strange things that are going to continue to add up. I wondered how her mom could support her when Taylor was lying to Wade and his family and pretending to be her mother and like saying these horrific things and like and I guess it's her child, but I don't know. Like it was difficult for even I to comprehend like after Taylor portrayed her mother to be this greedy monster, which I think was a projection. I think the true greedy monster was Taylor. A lot of the things that Taylor said about other people or when she was pretending to be other people. So Taylor had over 30 aliases. She had multiple phones. She had a voice changing app or something, like something that could change her voice. She was constantly pretending to be all of these other people leading up to the event. So I think she was escalating based on the way things were presented in the docuseries. It seemed like Wade's family was starting to question her. Even he was starting to question things because so her due date was supposed to be September 22nd. I don't know if anybody so I did. So I have one child. My doctor would only let me go to 40, I think, because I went to 41 weeks. I know maybe it was right. I don't know. Like my doctor would only let me go 1 to 2 weeks past my due date. I think it might have been 1 week. My child was measuring kind of large and because it can risk the mother if pregnancies go too long. The life of baby and mother can definitely be at risk. And she's over here 10 months pregnant. And I'm not saying 40 weeks. I'm saying Like, she was due in September 22nd, and it is weeks past this date, but she has called in allegedly, she has started a fire at Wade's house, and she's called in a boom threat to the hospital where she was supposed to get an appointment. And all of this is just, and I think that's why this docuseries has been kind of popular right now, because it's just like, what? Who? Why? Like, how does all of this happen? And the story just keeps getting worse. So I think um she was, so according to different, I think it was in the docuseries, that she was stressed that Wade was cheating on her, when okay. And often individuals with narcissistic traits or features, they often accuse the other person of doing the thing that they're actually doing. So that's a part of that DARVO, the deny, attack, reverse victim, and defender, but before, or gaslighting. Like, that can be a form of gaslighting, to blame them for something that you've actually, that you're actually doing. Yeah. And so 42 weeks, but they're often not letting people go past like 42 weeks. Because like I said, September 22nd was supposed to be her due date. The day of the incident was October 9th, was the date of the incident, and she wouldn't. I also think COVID created the perfect storm where people couldn't go in, like only the person with the medical appointment could go in. Even the partner, nobody else could go in to appointments for a period of time because of the Rona. And so I think a part of that added to how she was able to continue to manipulate and have her scheme and do everything that she did. The doctors, because, so Taylor, so this whole thing where she's pretending to be pregnant, saying that she's pregnant. Well, when she was with her second child's father, she had her tubes tied. And I think it was a year after that, she ended up having, they thought there was a problem. They started a surgery. They realized she had an ectopic pregnancy. And her husband authorized a partial hysterectomy where they removed her uterus, her right, so both tubes, and her right ovary were all removed during this procedure. And I I thought, because I'm sure she felt some type of way, and they really didn't go into that, the fact that somebody else made that decision, because she seems like she was a very controlling person. She seemed like she needed control, she wanted to control and manipulate things. I'm sure that caused some issues, but even her mother, I think it was her mother during the documentary, or somebody talked about the fact that she tried to ask other people to have a baby for her, and she also wanted, like, her mother to give her her uterus when, like, that's not a thing. Like, the procedure that she had was irreversible. She was never going to be able to conceive and carry a child to term, and she would not realize that. And she was not diagnosed with a delusional disorder. So individuals that are delusional, so Lori Vallow, Lori Vallow, she was diagnosed with a delusional disorder. I think spiritual, like it was spiritual theme. Um, and so I think there was a part of her that knew it was false, but like she would just get her mind on a thing and then just have tantrums about it, get really upset, and like have this master plan because she thinks she's brilliant, and I don't think it was that good. So she was diagnosed with cluster B personality traits. So she was diagnosed with antisocial, so that is the psychopathic or sociopathic traits. The DSM-5 calls it antisocial personality disorder. That's an individual that thinks the rules do not apply to them. And just because somebody has antisocial traits doesn't mean that they will do crimes, not necessarily. But it's somebody, but like if they're meeting criteria for this disorder, there are most likely some crimes involved. She was also diagnosed with, I believe, histrionic features. So that's that need for attention. Also, borderline personality features, emotion dysregulation, and then also, what's the other one in that? Because it was all the cluster B. So cluster B, and within that cluster, let me pull up my notes on that. Because the sense of self. So all of narcissistic. I think I forgot the narcissistic features as well. That was what one of the psychologists, or might have been, I forget if it was the psychologist. I think that was the defense. That was actually the defense psychiatrist that diagnosed her with that. So, people with pronounced pathological lying, chronic manipulation, and significant cluster B personality traits often often struggle with a stable and an integrated sense of self. So they struggle with a stable and integrated sense of self. This does not mean that they lack identity entirely, but rather that their identity may be fragmented, inconsistent, or heavily dependent on external validation and impression management. So I think her lies were about impression management and avoiding shame. An unstable self-concept. The beliefs about themselves, they quickly shift, and they may adopt different personas to gain admiration, avoid shame, or maintain control. Reliance on external validation. Self-worth often comes from attention, praise, status, or influence over others. And so she didn't actually work for any of those things. She just said that she had it. Like, she just said that she had all these things. She didn't actually work for it. Like, she didn't do the work to do the things, because it's my understanding she struggled to maintain employment. There was one of her former bosses that Taylor lied to her and said that she had content warning for loss of a child. So Taylor had lied and said that she had lost a child. That former boss, she had lost a child, and she thought that her and Taylor were bonding over this. And then the boss realizes Taylor's lying. She's pretending. So like she adopted the boss's title in her signature in her email, and it's just so much. It's so much. It's so much. So individuals with cluster B personality traits and some of those other characteristics that we've seen within Taylor, lying is identity maintenance. So pathological lies are not always solely about tangible gain. Sometimes they create a more desirable self-image, cover perceived inadequacies, or protect one's feelings against shame, vulnerability, or rejection. And I think her lies were to do all of those things. Over time, the boundary between reality and the preferred narrative can become blurred. And I think there was a statement in the docuseries where I believe she told Wade, she was like, "I'm bringing a baby home." Like, if you ever need to know, like, was this premeditated, I think a lot of things within this docuseries proves. I think she was befriending pregnant individuals, but I think she wanted their lives. She wanted what they had, and she was not able to conceive, and I don't think she would accept or acknowledge that. And because she was offering people $50,000 if they would be a surrogate for her, she didn't have $50,000. And they didn't say that in the docuseries. She's over here, she's not paying her child support. She's thousands of dollars in the rears on child support. And it came up in the docuseries that a part of her issue with her mom may have, or like why the mom didn't push back on Taylor's lies, and knowing that she's out here claiming to be pregnant and everybody knows that it's impossible for her to be pregnant. And Taylor tried to like put God on that, like it's a miracle. No, like, but she's not pregnant. She's not. She's buying the fake bump. And that's how you know that she knows she's not pregnant. Because there is something called like a pseudo pregnancy where a person will, they might even like their body will start to produce some of the hormones, but it is a psychological pregnancy. Sometimes that unfortunately happens after somebody. Now, when I say unfortunately, because it's a really sad thing when it happens after somebody loses a child, because a person can kind of get stuck in the midst of their grief. That's not what Taylor had. She just she used people, and I think she thought other people. I believe these are my personal thoughts. I believe she thought other people lied the same way she did. I think she thinks other people manipulate the same way she does. I don't think she thinks, or she thinks that other people should try to get away with it. Like, I don't know that she sees what she did as wrong, which is why she is exactly where she is. She is one of 7 women in Texas on death row. So, all right. Let's see. So, and I don't say this to excuse anything. So none of the things I'm saying is meant to excuse anything. It's meant to help us understand. So manipulation can sometimes be a way to protect oneself. So manipulative behaviors may function as attempts to maintain power, regulate emotions, secure attachment, or prevent abandonment, rather than relating authentically. Because I don't think she was capable of relating in an authentic way, because I don't think she even knew who she was. I thought to myself, I was like, she needed to go eat, pray, love. Like, I don't think she knew how she liked her eggs. Like, because even with Wade, what he liked, she liked. She wasn't her own individual person. She would become this chameleon and adapt to whoever she was around. And she did not have her own stable sense of self. And a stable sense of self, like, that helps you be able to tolerate criticism, that helps you be able to tolerate uh fears of rejection, abandonment, because I think she only felt good when she was with somebody else. So she was not single for more than like a week. I don't know that she was single for long at all, because I think when she met Wade, was that right after her divorce from her last husband? So, like, it seemed like she went from relationship to relationship. She got pregnant, and had a child at 17 years old. That's her oldest child, her daughter. And then so then she had her second child with her husband. They end up getting divorced. And then so it starts off, she tests the water, I think, with saying she was pregnant with twins and that she miscarried. And there's a theory, I don't know if it's true. There's a theory that she might have wanted Reagan. So Reagan is the victim in this case, Reagan and Braxlin, Reagan's daughter. And then the other daughter, so the surviving daughter that was home. So when Taylor attacked Reagan, Reagan's 3-year-old child was home. And I believe it was in the docuseries, or it was in the victim impact statements, that um, that child's grandmother talked about how the grandchild struggles with the color red, with when she sees a pregnant person. Now, this was, I think, soon after, because hopefully she's doing better now. But if she saw a pregnant person, she would want to check their belly to make sure they weren't bleeding. And it's just a horrific thing. She likely heard the screams, and that was likely a very, very terrifying thing. And this is just a horrific situation. I do believe they said that Reagan's husband, because that was technically his stepdaughter, but he's raising her. I'm guessing he's likely legally adopted her, and he is raising her. Let me see. With so much real evidence presented to Wade, why didn't he push harder to call her out, especially since he didn't love her? So I don't know. He would answer that. And I don't think he wanted to look like a fool, because you'd literally be saying you've believed her for 10 months. like, she's not pregnant, and I don't think so I don't know if that part of that was his pride or his so anybody can be scammed, anybody. And really, people that are aware that anybody can be scammed, that's actually more protective. If I think I'm too smart to ever be outsmarted by somebody else, I'm too smart to, not do this or that. That actually, that confidence can actually, somebody that is a scammer can use that confidence against me. And I think she did it slow. And everything about her was a lie. And I don't know that Wade wanted to live in a world where somebody would do something like this. Now we know so and I have links to the story down in the description. So Laura Owens, she I don't know if her criminal case has already concluded, but she had a history of telling men that she was pregnant, and then there were other things that ensued, and but she did this to the former bachelor, Clayton Eckerd. And Clayton had time and money because he was like he sued her because she tried to sue him for I think but I don't know like they went back and forth they sued and so there was a lawsuit and it turns out the whole thing was fake and then all these other victims come forward and um he didn't have any like he wasn't ashamed to come forward and say this person did this to me and he openly talked about it. And so I feel like we're having these conversations lately, but it is so hard. Why do you think she didn't harm the child who could have been a witness? So I think there are allegations that she might have told that child to go back to the bedroom. I don't know. Um she had just been at the house. Taylor had just been at their house the day before. Reagan considered Taylor to be a friend. I don't think Taylor was a friend to anybody. I think she uses people and manipulates people and is very transactional in her relationships with people. And she tries to control, dominate, and manipulate things. So Taylor wrote a letter to the FBI saying that she's researched criminals and that they should hire her to be a profiler. The gall, the audacity. She's over I don't like that's now a part of Rex Heuermann. So Rex Heuermann, that Gilgo Island, I believe I'm saying the right person's name with that. Uh, he has agreed to meet with the FBI to talk about his stuff and to help them better profile people. But that was something that they requested. Like, she's over here trying to volunteer. Like, I know so much about crime. I know so much about profiling people. Y'all should hire me. I didn't know that there were websites, and I'm not gonna name the website here. I didn't know that there were websites because I think her baby bump moved. According to the docuseries, it seems like she could like push up, like she could make it kick or something. Because I think she recorded herself trying to show movement, but like there was never a baby in her. And so um the recaps will be good. I think I don't know. I don't so this was in like a living room. I don't think it was in a basement. I don't think it was in a basement. And unfortunately, so Reagan's mother is the one that found her. That 911 call, that I think I listened to that this morning. The 911 call was in the documentary as well, because I watched it first over on Annie Elisa's podcast, and then I heard it again in the documentary. And I actually fast forwarded through parts of it because pain, the pain, um, and the mother describing, I went to go in and that she didn't wanna go in, but she thought, "Is there a chance that my daughter is still alive?" And so, like, the fact that her mother, that Reagan's mother was the one that found her, because that's something that you can't unsee. Um, she said in the docuseries that, and I'm paraphrasing here, that when her daughter died, a part of her died too, and the parts that are left, she didn't know before. That was so when her daughter died, a part of her died too, and the part that's left, she didn't recognize. And I've worked with individuals that have lost family members to violence, and that description, it really it it was that was powerful because this isn't a journey that she ever thought she would have to walk. That isn't something that she ever thought she would ever see. Um, um, and and so I I don't I don't think that Taylor is this huge mastermind that she wants to be. Do you know what I like, I don't think so there are other criminals that got away with multiple things for a period of time, and the FBI is like, "I wanna be able to catch people faster." I don't know that the FBI wants to study Taylor, which would, like, because she thinks everybody wants her, everybody I think she would want that attention. I'm actually glad that the FBI is over here like, "We're good. No, thanks. We'll just read your letters and your psych eval and all those things. Nope. Mm-mm. Nope. All right. And so let's see. Um, in the police interview, at some point, Taylor has the unmitigated gall, the audacity to say that Reagan was the instigator, and I think that was all just lies. Taylor has the nerve to say that Reagan did that to herself and begged her to take the baby. That is all a lie too. And because the digital evidence, Taylor was already searching how to do a C-section. Like she was already looking at that. She brought a scalpel. And so like this was premeditated. There was no way that Reagan was the instigator and that Reagan did that to herself. And for her to just for those words to leave her mouth. Because once again, she's just trying to get away with it. Because even now on her appeals, and I think all of her appeals have been denied because her team tried to argue that Braxlin was not was stillborn when that's not or like that Braxlin never was alive. When the paramedics, there is evidence that goes against that. And my heart just breaks for that family. Details of this case, very, very horrific. Uh and so then we learn later from Taylor's ex-husband, Hunter, that she had a history of faking seizures to get him to stay around, and also still wanted to have a baby despite having a hysterectomy. To me, Wade just came off as kind of naive, but I think he just see, I got questions. And so that's what, if anything, like let's have more curtain twitchers, like Kathy says, like we just need more people being asking a few questions, not being overly suspicious, but like have a few questions. And to me, what I saw in watching all of this is that Taylor had no boundaries and that she used people. And while she was incarcerated, she tried to frame a mentally fragile inmate named Hannah, and then also just tried to say that there was a black man that she saw in a car, and so she tried to put it off on Hannah and this other guy, which was a lie because the details provided to Hannah, the details provided to other inmates, it's only things that the killer would know. And she wasn't good at crime, and we like that. I don't like it when criminals are good with crime. She left trails of evidence even when she was incarcerated. She just continued to talk, continued to write letters, continued to try to get away with things, and she's very problematic. I wish they could limit her books. I don't know if they ever have, because I'm concerned that she reads books on murder. Like I don't think that should be in her reading list. If anybody's going to have a banned book list, like I think prisons, like you shouldn't be able to read books Like, they should all be, like, positive. Like, it's fine. It's fine. But why is she out here reading books on redrummers? No, thanks. Okay. Uh, One defense psychiatrist said that when her external world is not pleasant, her internal world is pleasant. And Kathy from Gossip Rumor and Innuendo, I believe she calls them chaos muppets. So there's some people that when things are peaceful on the outside, their internal is all, they actually get really frazzled when things are peaceful and calm. I think she thrives in chaos and drama, like thrives. Like, so she's calm. So if there's chaos and drama and we're all like, what's going on? She's thriving. If things are peaceful, nobody's talking about her, nobody's thinking about her, things are calm. This will probably be my one and only video on her unless something major comes out of this whole thing. Thank you for being a member for 5 months. Much love, Dr. Barry and the Psych Nerds. Thank you so much. All right. Inmates can't have books about coding. Oh, so they won't learn to write coded letters. That's good to know. I didn't know that. Hey, so let me see. Um, all right. I mentioned just the pain and for Reagan's family. I also just wanted to mention Reagan's sister and how she mentioned being scared on her wedding day to hire a photographer because Taylor was Reagan's wedding photographer. So I've had multiple photographers so I had a wedding photographer, I've had business shoots, like professional headshots, I've had um different things like that. I don't become friends with the photographer, and so that's where I say, Taylor didn't have boundaries, and I think Reagan had a big heart, and, her family continues to want her memory to live on. If anybody is aware of an official fund, like an official fund that the family is promoting, please let me know in the regular comments of the video, and I'll make sure to pin that. I wasn't able to find anything. I was trying to see if there was a scholarship or if there was anything, because I like to highlight those in videos if they're there. Oh. Um, so Law Junkie, I saw your comment, and there are people can bond in the midst of tragedy and pain. Um, and but as long as there's still healthy aspects to it, because the question is about trauma bonding, and a trauma bond, if it's only trauma and there isn't anything else there, if the trauma heals, the relationship often falls apart, and so the people often stay broken, versus a healthy relationship, and because of all that they've been through, because like sometimes somebody has lost a sibling, and in supporting the children, sometimes they have fallen in love with their former brother or sister-in-law, and so I have no judgment for any of that. I can't imagine what this family has been through. All right. All right. And so let me see. For the questions you all had, there was a question about the links she goes to fulfill her pregnancy lie. What drives her? And I think she desperately wanted to hold on to Wade. She desperately wanted love. I think she wanted the idea of a child. I don't think she wanted an actual child. And I also think she wanted to like attention for being a parent and all those things, and to prove everybody wrong. I think she desperately wanted to prove that she wasn't a liar when she was a lying liar that lies all the time. She reminded me of Nicholas Cassotis, very much Nicholas Cassotis, with all of his lies and pretending to be other people. She was a little bit more sophisticated, I think, and her lies went a lot deeper. But a lot of her lies and the pathological nature of it, along with like the narcissistic traits and all of that, it reminded me of Nicholas Cassotis. Because I also think Mindy, the victim in that case, I'm not sure that she was ever pregnant. And I don't know if he convinced her that she was, because there was just a lot of lying and manipulation. And often when people are lying like that, there's this conspiracy that, because I think she said like the Mexican mafia and like there had been a shootout. Like she had these fantastical stories. And she's saying that it's not in the news because they're, I don't know, she has just all these lies and none of it makes any sense. None of it makes any sense. Yeah. And because she wasn't raising any of her children. But I think once the relationship didn't work out with the other person, she would move on to another person. And I don't know that she wanted to actually do that. Y'all know sometimes I jump around to different topics. So the next part of this that I want to go back to was Taylor's mother. That Taylor's mom had physical custody of Taylor's daughter. But I wonder if Taylor agreed to that. I wonder if they maybe technically had joint, or like if maybe the mother just had guardianship but didn't have some type of official custody, because the mother seemed, according to what other people have said, I don't know this to be true, but the mother seemed to be afraid of making Taylor mad and Taylor coming and taking the daughter to live with her. I think the mother was afraid of that, but that doesn't mean that you don't set boundaries and that you don't make sure that people are protected. Like that's very problematic. I wanted to get to the part of HIPAA. So I talked in my last video at the end of talking about Shonda Vander Ark. We talked a little bit about duty to warn. That comes from Tarasoff v. Regents of University of South Carolina. No, South California, University of maybe Southern California, maybe something like that. But that decision came because a college student told a mental health professional that he was having thoughts of hurting a specific person. And at that time, there wasn't a duty to warn. And what he ended up harming that individual. And there is a law. Her last name was Tarasoff. And there is now the Tarasoff decision, duty to warn, duty to protect. And that is for all medical, mental health, healthcare professionals. We all have that duty. So the clinic that had done her hysterectomy knew that she was claiming to be pregnant. And they had received a tip that she was continuing with this lie. And so they did put out a pink alert. So they were concerned that she might sneak into a hospital and try to steal a baby. So they did put that out there. And I wonder, looking back, if they might have considered notifying law enforcement so that somebody would go and do a mental health check, that somebody would go and check on the safety of any pregnant person that was connected or known to Taylor, because I think Taylor was getting close to Reagan on purpose. And I think because there was another friend that I think had been pregnant too. And so like I think Taylor was being very manipulative and cunning, and I wish someone had been aware. If she had been caught before this happened, she'd still probably be among us. But Reagan would be alive. She still might have done some other crime later. Like, she just seemed like a person that was on a very destructive path. And that was a, by any means necessary, I'm going to make what I want be reality, even though it's not reality. And she wasn't accepting the reality that she wasn't able to have children. Wade really didn't love her. He didn't. She was never going to get the love that she wanted. And, but yet she didn't want to let go of that relationship. If she did let go of that one, I think she would have very quickly jumped into a new relationship. All right. Yeah, somebody mentioned, Law Junkie mentioned Taylor and Reagan posted on Facebook together. People knew Taylor was not okay. Yeah. And so if I received a third party notice concerned about somebody else that was a former client and not an active client, I might have to reach out to my liability insurance to see what I could do. And then just off the record, like, just like, can I make some type of I don't know. Can I make some type of anonymous like call to somebody or to something? I don't know. I don't. Um, uh, um, because I think her former the person that did her former OB knew that she had had a hysterectomy and she was currently claiming to be pregnant, and that was impossible. I hope that Wade, if he had heard it from the medical doctor, from a medical professional, because she kept providing fake medical evidence of her pregnancy, and she was not pregnant. And so, yeah. Um, I wish I wish this had been stopped. I really truly do. And it really is hard. With a pathological liar, is it the reward from lying or is it the shame of the truth? How do they not go crazy trying to keep up with all the lies and the thought of how those lies could really hurt or affect people? So that was a question. So I want to add in that she has a history of chronic pathological lying and also has cluster B personality traits. So with those two things in mind, shame and the need to escape the truth. For many people, the truth feels intolerable. Shame, insecurity, fear of abandonment, fear of criticism, or fear of appearing ordinary can make reality feel threatening. Lying becomes a defense against those painful emotions. So if I was the therapist, I would want them to get comfortable with being ordinary, that that's not bad. That because she wanted to be great, she wanted to be grand, but part of that was narcissism, and so she would have fired me. I don't think she would have liked doing therapy. It's my understanding that she claimed to have all of these medical concerns. She claimed she had cancer. She claimed she had MS. She claimed she had all of these things. And even while incarcerated, she's tried to like pass notes to different people in jail, but it's while she's being transported to and from medical appointments where they changed the policy at the facility that for her that she has to be for a medical appointment, she's seen in her cell. She didn't leave her cell because it was causing so many problems. And so she tries to control it. So it's a lot. Um Reward and reinforcement. Lying can be rewarding. Attention and admiration, sympathy, avoiding consequences, a sense of power and control, the excitement of getting away with it. The brain learns that lying reduces distress and produces reward, so the behavior gets reinforced. All right. So this is just general information, not to excuse anything. We're just trying to understand. So let's talk about why they don't get crazy trying to keep track of everything. Many people assume that pathological liars consciously remember every lie, but several things can happen. They often revise their stories repeatedly, so inconsistencies don't bother them as much as they bother other people. Some particularly believe their own narratives, and so the boundary between reality and fantasy can become blurred, and they may compartmentalize or minimize any contradictions. So anytime the police or anybody tried to point out contradictions, she would have another excuse. Like she was the queen of rationalization of trying to make this square go into a round hole, and it's just not going to do it. And we all admit and acknowledge it. And she's just like, no, it fits. And we're like, no, it doesn't. We have eyes too. And so that's where some of the gaslighting of I'm telling the truth. No, you're not. And so that's where I wouldn't argue with her. So if you've ever known somebody that's a pathological liar, if you know the truth, you don't ask them. You don't ask. If you know the answer, don't ask because they're going to lie to you. If you might have to talk to somebody else to figure out the information. So if my child lies a lot, and all children lie. So lying is a normal part of development. You develop natural, like, so lying is a thing that all kids do. Um, and I want to communicate with somebody else that can maybe give me a more accurate view of what happened. All right. And so, what about the harm to others? So I think she minimized the impact. She justified her behavior. She blamed other people and she focused on her own distress rather than the pain she caused to others. So I don't think she was hurt by what happened, by any of the consequences. She seems to be thriving in jail. So jail is an institution, and the guards, everybody is constantly changing. So these are more people for her to interact with and manipulate. Jail is naturally there can be some chaotic aspects to it. And so like this is just another thing that I think she's going to try to conquer, and she has a lot of problems. Hope I made that very clear. Why doesn't exposure stop the behavior? So she doubled down, created more lies, rewrites history, attacks the credibility of others, and presents herself as the victim. This is the perpetuating cycle. And so I hope that's helpful. Let me see. And then with the last question, hypochondria and pathological lying are still steps away, leaps and bounds from cold-blooded redrum of a trusted friend. In trial, Taylor was evaluated and did not have any mental health issues. So outside of those personality disorders. So are some liars just that? Liars and awful people. And so overall, the question is just about lying. So just because somebody lies doesn't mean that they'll necessarily do a crime. I've worked with some individuals where when we kind of got to the root of why they were lying, we realized that they were like, there were some, if we address some things from their past, they would feel safe and tell the truth and deal with those negative emotions that come up when you're disappointing someone. So I know if my husband asks, so I'm big, so like I have a water bottle here, I have this cup here, I have I have stuff everywhere. My husband is more neat than I am, but if something happens in this house, it's probably either me or our son. Those are the two people that likely did something, either me or our son. And sometimes I joke. And so my husband's like, Patrice, did you do this? And I'm like, it wasn't me. I'm like, oh, my bad. Yeah, that was me. And so we might joke about it. Or another time, if he says like, because I know like he's gonna be disappointed, I have to tell him the truth. So sometimes I literally take a breath. And so somebody mentioned that they've never lied, uh and so there have been times that telling the truth might have made me unsafe. And so if I'm pulled over by a police officer and he asked me how fast I was going, uh, because I need to know what you clocked me at. I'm rarely pulled over by the police. I've been driving since I was with a license since 17 years old. I'm now 43 years old. I've only been okay, we're not gonna because it's 4 times. Is that a lot? I don't know. I've only had 2 tickets. I've only had 2 tickets. Okay. One time my registration was expired. One time my car was wiggling if I didn't go 80 miles per hour. That cop felt bad for me. And I probably should have had 3 tickets. I only have 2. So so with telling the truth, um, I think pathological lying for a to manipulate, to cause problems. There are some people that are compulsive liars. And sometimes people with ADHD, because so it takes impulse control to not lie. And I don't think Taylor had any impulse control. This isn't an excuse. It just helps us understand. She had no impulse control. She did whatever she wanted and did all the things. Um, uh, so I say I balance out my husband's stability. I couldn't be married to somebody like me. No, like it would be too much. My husband is so even kill. Like he's just like he's my rock. Like he's even kill. It's really good. I can be a little all over the place. Imagine that. I'm the one with the family history of ADHD. and he's just super even kill. And but and I think disliking honesty is dishonesty is good. So there's nothing wrong with that. I couldn't be with somebody, so I trust my husband. He trusts me. We don't lie to each other. There are times I have to encourage myself to tell the truth. So I was gonna start like a health journey, and I wasn't gonna tell him. Omission can sometimes be lying. So I wasn't going to tell him. I've decided to make other decisions and not go the path I was thinking, and so that's not going to be a problem. I was eventually going to tell him, but I wasn't going to tell him at the start because he probably would have told me to make a different decision. I came to that decision on my own. I'm Dr. Barry, and I can sometimes be a little oppositional. That's why I don't like the diagnosis oppositional defiant disorder. I like to figure things out on my own. I don't like to be told what to do. And so um, we're talking about a spectrum of things. And on the spectrum of lying liars that lie, there is Nicholas Cassotis, there is like, but the rest of us are like way over at the other end. Do you know what I mean? So, and there are some people that struggle with pathological lying, and it is something that can be addressed. Addressing or compulsive lying, and those things can be addressed. All right. So I appreciate you all so much. This will be my last stream, my last live stream until next Saturday. So the 27th. I am going to touch some sand, hang out with family, catch up on paperwork. I'm going to do all the things. I need a little break from true crime. I'm going to do a little reset and not follow a bunch of stuff. When I come back, I'll get caught up on everything. But and if you need to take a break at any point, please take a break. You never have to apologize for skipping a video. Your mental health comes first. I'm doing this for me and just to enjoy the world, enjoy my life, and enjoy family. And I'll be doing this. I'll be doing this a few times this summer, and I'll always let y'all know when I'm going to do a little reset. But I will talk to y'all about it at the end. So be kind, don't do crimes, and I will see you all next time. Have a good one. Bye.